Chris Maragakis, and you're listening to Mindful Mutterings, the podcast for women who want to ditch anxiety, build self-esteem and live life with confidence. So hi, welcome to episode 4. This week I'll be talking about how we can change a mindset from negative to positive in 3 steps. A negative mindset will impact on absolutely every area of your life and can even damage your health and life opportunities. So I think the first thing that we need to understand is, what do I mean by mindset? A mindset is a set of beliefs that influence how you see the world and interact with it. And we will have got our mindset from conversation, influenced by people around us, from our parents, school, society, peer groups, all the input that we've had over the years and all the things that we have come to believe are what will influence our mindset. And it is our mindset that then influences how we see everything else that goes on around us in our life. So, can a mindset be changed? In short, yes, absolutely. It takes time because there are neural pathways in the brain that have become quite entrenched in our belief system, and we have to create new beliefs that can then override them. And the only way that we can do that is through repetition and consistent use. So anything that can be learned, anything that has been learned can be unlearned. So here's how to switch your mindset in 3 not so easy steps. So the first one is to stop asking yourself, why is this happening to me? I mean, that doesn't serve any purpose whatsoever. It puts you in a victim mindset, and that it gives you the belief that you are out of control in your life or that you are overwhelmed in your life. And actually, you have all the power that you need to change this. So instead, ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience? How can I make sure that it doesn't happen to me again? What mistakes am I constantly repeating? Because this is going to be tough and you might not want to hear it. But the reason things aren't working out for you isn't because of someone else, isn't because of something that keeps happening to you. It's because of you. It's because either you're not learning from what's happened in the past, or it's because you're being triggered and you're automatically reacting in the same way every time to a set of stimuli, and that is causing the same events to be happening time and time again. And the reason that this happens is because we become entrenched in the idea that actually life just happens to us, that we don't have the power to control it. So it's about looking at your life and the way it is and taking absolute responsibility for that. The reason your life is the way it is right now, and again, this is not comfortable to hear, but it's a truth that we need to accept so that we can take control of our life, is because of the choices that we've made. No one can make us angry, no one can make us sad, no one can make us jealous. It's because we choose to respond in that way, or we choose to react in that way because we've been triggered due to all the beliefs and conceptions that we've had growing up. And so it's about understanding that if we start to take responsibility for the choices that we're making and have made in the past, and look at how we can stop being triggered, we can identify our triggers so that they don't keep happening to us, then we can choose to respond rather than react to a situation that's happening. And that's how we then change our lives. So the other thing is also that if you are someone who always expects things to go wrong, you expect bad things to happen to you, then there are a set of natural laws, and it doesn't really matter whether you believe in them or not. It's kind of like gravity. You don't have to believe in it. It happens in spite of you. And these natural laws are the same, and the most famous one at the moment is the law of attraction. But what that actually means is, if you have a negative mindset and you're always expecting bad things to happen to you, you're creating a vibration in this realm. And so what will happen is things that are going to happen to you that are not positive will be attracted back to you. And this is what we want to stop, because what we focus on is what we create. And so obviously we want to be sending out higher vibration, which is more positive and more powerful, because that will attract positive and powerful things into our lives. So to change your negative mindset, there's loads of tools that you can use. We're going to talk about 3 steps, and the first one is to ask yourself these questions, to start taking responsibility for your life, to start looking at situations that are happening to you, especially ones that keep repeating, and thinking, right, okay, this isn't ideal. This is not how I want my life to be working out. What do I need to learn here? What do I need to take away from this experience so that it becomes an empowering teaching exercise, rather than me feeling overwhelmed and out of control. And what you'll start to do is you'll start to notice that there are behaviours that you're doing that are not helping you. And you're probably not even aware of these behaviours. They all come from, like I say, our childhood, or from when we first went to school, or, you know, how we've had to find our place in the world. But once we can identify them, then we can start to change them. And we can use affirmations or mantras to help us do this. And things like today is a good day for opportunity, or things always work out for me, are really good things to be repeating in our mind, because, like I said, we need to come up with new beliefs to override the previous neural pathways. And repetition is one of the best ways to do it, either through consistent action or consistent thought. And the brain, as I said in previous podcasts, the brain can't tell whether what it's receiving is real or imagined. So as long as you can start to believe what you're saying and the mantras that you're using, they will be as powerful to you as anything else. So that was step one, questioning what's going on and taking responsibility. Number two is problem solving. So negativity largely comes from either living in the past, from depression, tiredness, or overwhelm, like I said. And it makes us feel that everything that's happening to us is so much worse, that we can't see a way out of it, that these things always keep happening to us, that we don't deserve any better, that I never get a break, life never goes well for me. And as I said previously, so we're attracting more of that into our life. So the problem is, once we start to feel this way, or any of those ways, anxiety, depression, tiredness, overwhelm, our body starts to flood itself with adrenaline. And I've said this before, then the first thing it shuts down is problem solving. And problem solving is vital to take control of your life, because it means it puts you into a proactive and empowered position. So it's about taking the first activity of looking at what needs to change in your life, or what needs to change on your mindset, so that you can stop these things happening to you. And then take it a step further. So then it's about the problem solving. So one good way of problem solving is just to get a piece of paper and write down all the things that aren't working out for you right now. You know, because if these things are left unattended, they're unlikely to get better. You know, you're burying your head in the sand, and by ignoring them, you're actually giving them more energy than you would if you sorted them out. And so that's why you're constantly so tired and overwhelmed. So write them all down on a piece of paper, then go through the list that you've come up with and cross off everything that you can't actually do anything about right now. So stuff that, you know, like politics, or the weather, or the benefit system, or I don't know, the ethos in your workplace, those kind of things that right now you don't have any control over. I mean, you know, in the long term, you can use your vote and you can use your voice and HR and everything else. There is always a solution, or there is always a course of action. But right now, we're just trying to focus on what needs to work in your life. So then you're left with all these problems that there is something that you can actually do about them. So then it's about getting a sheet of paper again, putting all those on the left hand side, and on the right hand side start breaking down those jobs into small manageable tasks. Because when you look at this list of stuff that you've got to do, it's going to be overwhelming. You know, any kind of change can be overwhelming, especially if you're feeling that you're not supported, or especially if you're just so tired or already suffering from anxiety and depression. So it's about doing what you can and understanding, listening to yourself and pushing yourself just a little bit to start taking the first step. So on the left-hand side, you've got all the problems. On the right-hand side, you started to break them down into small bits. So just for example, say the problem that's constantly happening to you is that the person at work that you have to deal with on a daily basis doesn't do their job, gets you all upset, and it's making you feel ill, and you hate your job. So one of the things there to look at there is, firstly, is what they're saying true? Secondly, if it's not true, then it's about looking at how you can manage that problem. So one thing you could do is you could, if you feel you could have a conversation with them and find out what it is that they are struggling with in the way that you work. Or that you could ask HR to get involved, or that you could change the way that you work and do what it is that they're wanting you to do, but change your mindset towards how you feel about that, because at the moment it's causing you anguish and upset. Or you could look for a new job. You know, there are loads of different examples to it that you can apply to any part of your job, but most of the time, any problem that you have, if you break it down into small, manageable tasks, you can then start to do something every single day to change the way that things are going for you so that you end up having the life that you want. The third step is gratitude. Be grateful. Gratitude is a very, very powerful tool for changing mindset and reducing negativity. We're raised in a culture that teaches us to always look at what we don't have. We have a deficit mindset. What we don't have, what we wish we had, what we think we should have, instead of looking at what we do have and learning to be grateful for it. I mean, very often the difference between what we need and what we want is quite substantial, but it's the what we want that keeps us driving. And the fact of the matter is, once you get that, it's very shallow. Once you finally achieve what it is you think you want, because of the nature of the way our brain works and our mindset towards deficit, then it's like, well, okay, that was short-lived. Now I'll only be happy if I have this. And when you get the big house, then I'll only be happy if I have a nice car. And you get the nice car. Well, I'll only be happy if I have a bigger car or a better car, or I can travel the world, or it never ends. So it's about learning to be grateful for what you have and appreciating what we have. I think we have this negative mindset that once we start looking at what is not happening in our life that we think should be happening in our life, it has this ability to just take over, and we just again feel overwhelmed with the fact that we are not doing what we think we should be doing. We don't have what we think we should be having. And to be quite honest, who are we marking ourselves against? We don't know what somebody else's life is like. And at the moment, we have a lot to be grateful for. You don't have to look too far at the moment to see a whole country who would rather be living your life right now. And it's about understanding that however bad we feel our life is, there is always somebody who has it worse. And so if we can appreciate that, or at least keep that at the back of our mind, at the moment, depending on where you're listening to this from, most of us are not living in a war-torn area. Most of us do not have to fear for our life on a daily basis. Most of us have food or have shelter of some description. And so there is a lot for most of us to be grateful for. I know there are exceptions to that, obviously. And so start every day by just listing maybe 3 things. So you get up in the morning, you make your coffee or your cup of tea or whatever, and just sit there and just list 3 things that you are grateful for. And it may be hard at first to think of 3 things because we are so conditioned to think of what we don't have. So you can use things like, I'm grateful that I'm safe, I'm grateful that I have a roof over my head, I'm grateful for my family and friends, I'm grateful that I'm loved, I'm grateful that I have heating and running water, I'm grateful that I have a job maybe, I'm grateful that I have food in my house. Once you start listing all these things, I'm grateful that I have electricity, I have a gas supply, I have a right to free speech. It doesn't matter what it is. But it's about starting to become aware of things that you have in your life that you can be grateful for. And really, all of those that I've just listed are all that we ever really need. The rest of it is all a lovely addition. These are the key things that we need. So every day, first thing in the morning, just list 3 things that you're really grateful for. And maybe if you feel the need, before you go to bed at night, list 3 things that you've been grateful for that have happened in the day. Maybe you had a good day at work, maybe you had a coffee with a friend, maybe something that you did went really, really well and you feel on top of the world. The more that you look for things to be grateful for, the more aware we become of how fortunate we are, and that lifts our vibration. At the beginning I was talking about how we need a higher vibration. And when that happens, we can then see that we have even more positive things in our life to be grateful for. And the more that we raise our vibration, obviously, the more we are attracting that higher vibrations energy into our life. And so the more grateful we are, the more things that will come into our life that we can be grateful for. And the more positive we are, the more positive things will happen in our life. And like I said right at the beginning, what you focus on, you attract. So it's not a one-off thing. You can't just do it for one day and expect your mindset to change. It does take work. They say it takes about 6 weeks to change a thought process, but don't focus on that. It doesn't matter what happens tomorrow. We're not worried about what happens tomorrow. All we're doing is the best that we can for today. So just for today, right here, when you finish listening to this, have a look at some of these things. Have you had something that's happened today that you've not been overly pleased with? Well, in that case, have a look at it, see what you can learn from it, put the change in place so that you don't have the same issue again. Once you've come up with what you think needs to be changed in your life, that's a brilliant thing to put on your problem solving list. Once you've then got it on your problem solving list and you've broken it down into manageable tasks, then you have a plan to go forward and you know what you can be doing. Once you have a plan to go forward, you can start looking at the things that you've got to be positive about and be grateful for. Because even if it's the fact that you've got a plan and you've realised something about yourself, there's two things to be incredibly grateful for, because that's progress. That's you being empowered and taking control of your life. And that is what makes us happy, because we then have responsibility and the power to create the life it is that we want to live. So once you've used these steps and you've used them consistently, it will help your mindset change from negative to positive. And by doing that, you can then reduce the symptoms of anxiety and depression. You'll feel less overwhelmed because you feel more in control. You'll be less tired because you won't be so stressed out and you won't be using all your energy feeling overwhelmed and exhausted. And this in turn will then improve your health and well-being. And all of a sudden, your life is looking very, very different just by using these 3 steps on a daily basis. So I guess that's kind of it, really. If you'd like to know more about how shifting your mindset can completely change your mind, you can get in touch. The website is simplybe.org.uk. If you've got any questions that you would specifically like answered about working with me, or about how coaching can help you to change your mindset, then either you can contact me through the website, or it's 07974 618 499 if you'd like to text or give me a call. Thank you very much for joining me again this week, and I really hope you'll join me again next week for the next one. You take care and have a good week. Bye.